Welcome to Section 4, Personal Finance, Saving and Investing. In Lesson 1, you'll learn about financial reserves, interest and interest rates, simple and compound interest, and saving strategies. So, once you have a financial plan with a budget for your expenses, you'll need to begin saving money so you can start working toward your financial goals. A financial reserve is an amount of money that's set aside in savings for financial emergencies such as losing your job or having unexpected medical expenses. If you have an unexpected expense and have to use money from your financial reserve, start rebuilding a reserve as soon as you can to make sure you can handle other unexpected expenses in the future. So what we do is calculate our financial reserve. So if I lose my job, my extra money that I set aside can help me pay the regular expenses. To calculate the amount of money you should have in your reserve, add up the expenses required to meet your needs for 1 month, then decide how many months worth of expenses you want to save. Financial planners usually recommend that your reserve be equal to at least 3 months worth of your expenses. Here are some reasons why you may want a financial reserve of 3 months. You're worried that you may lose your job, your income is unpredictable, you have large non-discretionary expenses like a house or car payment, it would be difficult for you to find a new source of income quickly, or you think you are likely to have unexpected expenses, perhaps medical, car repairs, etc. So let's do a practice. Which of the following conditions might cause you to save more than 3 months worth of expenses? Well, I know sometimes if I have a job where my income is unpredictable, I may get paid more one time of the year and less the other. I might have large non-discretionary expenses like car repairs or medical concerns. Or if my field is really competitive, those definitely would be issues. So where do I put that money that I'm saving? Well, they're called reserve accounts, and most people have to build up their financial reserve to the level that they want by setting aside money toward a reserve on a regular basis. Saving accounts and money market accounts are popular choices for financial reserves. A money market is another common type of account offered by banks that is used in a similar way to a savings account. A money market account invests your money in low-risk investments with predictable interest rates. You'll learn more about investments and interest soon. There's some things we need to consider when choosing a savings account. We want to first think about liquidity. A financial reserve account should give you good liquidity, which simply means that you can get your money out and use it easily. You don't want to be in an investment that takes a long time to get your money out if you need it right away, if you're planning to use it for hard times. An example is a bank account has good liquidity because you can get your money out easily. A house has a bad liquidity because you're not necessarily able to sell your house right away. Another important part of a savings account is to know that it has protection. Make sure that your bank or financial institution will protect money in your reserves so that the balance of your account will only decrease if you withdraw money from it. This way, even if a bank invests your money badly and loses it, the bank doesn't get to take money away from your account. Interest is another important thing to think about when choosing a saving account because you can put money into your accounts that offer to pay interest on your money, so your money can actually grow slowly in the account. This helps the reserve grow a little faster than it could if it only grew when you deposited money in. So the principle of a financial reserve account is the money you have in the account. If the account offers interest, the interest rate calculated as a percentage of the principal over a specific time. Interest rates are often described as annual percentage. Annual means once per year. An annual interest rate tells you how much interest will be paid to you in 1 year. An example is you deposit $300 in a savings account that offers 2% annual interest. The principal in the account is $300, and in 1 year you'll receive $6 in interest because 2% of $300 is $6. Well, if you're trying to get the lowest interest rates possible, which of the following situations would be important? If you're lending money to another person, do you want to have a low interest rate for them? Or if you are borrowing money from another person? Well, if I'm borrowing money, of course, then I want to pay a little as much interest on that money that I'm borrowing. Simple interest is interest gained only on the principal amount of an account. An example, you put in $1,000 into a savings account with 4% simple interest rate. Each year you receive $40, which is 4% of $1,000. After the first year you'd have $1,040, and after the second year $1,080, and so on. Simple interest is easy to calculate because the amount is the same every year. To calculate the total for 50 years, you multiply the $40 yearly interest by 50. That would equal $2,000. So you can then add the interest to the principal to get the total. $2,000 plus $1,000 would be $3,000. Compound interest is interest that is added to the principal in the account so that the interest you receive starts generating its own interest. This process is called compounding. You put $1,000 into a savings account with 4% compound annual interest. In the first year you receive $40, just like a simple interest, but the interest gets added to the principal in the second year, so the interest in year 2 is calculated as 4% of $1,040, and in the second year you would receive $4,160. So your principal increases as your interest increases. The difference between simple interest and compound interest may seem small at first, but over time it makes a big difference. After 50 years, the compound interest that started at $1,000 will grow to $7,106.68, even if you don't make any other deposits after the original $1,000. After the same amount of time, the simple interest account will only grow to $3,000. So, which type of interest is added to the principal in the account so the interest generates its own interest? Is that simple interest or compound interest? If you said compound interest, you are correct. There are many helpful online calculators you can use to calculate compound interest. When you don't have a computer handy, you can use the Rule of 72 to help calculate compound interest without having to calculate each year's interest and add it by hand. The Rule of 72 helps you calculate the number of years required to double the principal of the account based on the annual compound interest rate. An example is an account that has 8% annual compound interest rate. 72 divided by 8 is 9, so it will take 9 years to double the principal of the account. An example again is a $1,000 account with 8% annual compound interest rate takes approximately 9 years to double, so it's worth $2,000 in year 9. In 9 more years, year 18, the account is doubled again to $4,000, and another 9 years to $8,000. The amount interest compounds can be different for each account. Some accounts offer compounding more often, such as daily or monthly. Some accounts offer quarterly compounding. Quarterly means every 3 months. If compounding happens more often, If compounding happens more often, the interest gets turned into principal faster, so it starts earning its own interest sooner, and the principal increases. This is a good thing if you're an account holder or a lender because you will earn more in interest. You can also make your money grow faster by making regular contributions. You can make financial reserves grow faster by making regular contributions to the account instead of making one deposit and waiting for it to grow. An example, if you deposit $1,000 in an account with 4% interest compounded annually, you also deposit an additional $500 each year, well, you notice that your money grows even faster. Because each time you deposit your $500, it increases your interest, which also goes to your principal, which then increases how you're earning and the interest you're earning. So the key is to start early. The earlier you start saving, the more you can benefit from compounding, because exponential growth gets more and more dramatic over time. If you are 20 years old when you deposit $1,000 in an account with 4% compound interest and then add $500 to account at the end of each year, you will have $66,355.87 when you're 65 years old. If you wait till you're 35 years old to deposit $1,000 in the same kind of account and add $500 at the end of the year, you will only have $31,000. If you don't have much money to set aside, we'll start collecting all the coins you receive in one place and then deposit them into a savings account at the end of each month. Sometimes people make savings their last priority in their budget. This means they'll pay all of the other bills and expenses first and treat putting money into a savings account as a lower priority. When you receive a paycheck, treat the payment you will make to your savings account as a payment you absolutely must pay. Another example is to spend wisely. It's a good idea to consider a purchase carefully, but it's unrealistic to never spend money at all. So instead of buying a cheap piece of costume jewelry, you might buy a more expensive piece of jewelry that will last over a long time. Buying items on sale or using coupons are popular methods of saving money. That extra money can in turn be put into a savings account and could compound interest. If you're planning to buy a $10 shirt, but when you get to the store the shirt is on sale for $5, don't decide to buy 2 shirts. Instead, put the $5 you saved into a savings account. So, in this lesson, you learned about financial reserves, interest and interest rates, simple and compound interest, and saving strategies. Now let's go on and take a look at the quiz, the study questions, and the assignment.